We tend to measure the success of life on Earth by what we can see. We marvel at the towering redwoods, the migrations of wildebeest, and the sprawling concrete jungles of humanity. But all of this, every leaf, every animal, every skyscraper, rests upon a foundation that is almost entirely invisible to us. Right now, beneath your feet, a silent army is conducting the greatest engineering project in the history of the planet. They are the primary movers of the Earth. They have no eyes, no ears, and no lungs. Yet, they possess a biological sophistication that puts our most advanced machinery to shame. Aristotle called them the intestines of the Earth. Charles Darwin, in his final years, claimed they were more influential to human history than almost any other animal. They have survived 5 mass extinctions, watched the dinosaurs rise and fall, and quietly manufactured the soil that feeds 8 billion humans today. This isn't just a story about a worm. This is a story about the engine of life itself. To appreciate the earthworm, we have to look at the clock of deep time. The ancestors of the modern earthworm appeared over 600 million years ago. While our ancestors were barely more than microscopic clusters of cells, the annelid, the segmented worm, was already perfecting the art of the burrow. They are masters of the long game. When the Chicxulub asteroid struck the Earth 66 million years ago, ending the reign of the dinosaurs, the world above became a firestorm, followed by a nuclear winter. But deep in the soil, buffered from the heat and the cold, the earthworms waited. They survived because they are the ultimate generalists. They don't need a specific climate, they create their own. By recycling the dead organic matter of a dying world, they provided the nutrient-rich foundation for the modern era of mammals and flowering plants to begin. Every forest you see today is, in a very literal sense, a phoenix that rose from the soil processed by earthworms. Let's look at the hardware. An earthworm is a masterclass in minimalist efficiency. First, the circulatory system. Humans have a centralized pump. The earthworm has a decentralized network of 5 pairs of aortic arches. These hearts pulse in a rhythmic, peristaltic wave, pushing hemoglobin-rich blood through a closed loop. But they breathe through their skin, a process called cutaneous respiration. Their skin is a semi-permeable membrane that must remain coated in a thin film of mucus. This mucus isn't just slime, it's a sophisticated biological lubricant and a gas exchange medium. If the worm dries out, the oxygen molecules can no longer dissolve and pass into the blood. The worm effectively suffocates in thin air. Their movement is a marvel of physics. Lacking bones, they use a hydrostatic skeleton. Each segment is a sealed chamber filled with fluid. By contracting their circular muscles, they make their body long and thin to probe into cracks. Then, they contract their longitudinal muscles, making the segment short and thick to anchor themselves. This movement is aided by setae, microscopic, retractable bristles made of chitin, the same material in a beetle's shell. These bristles act as thousands of tiny cleats, allowing the worm to exert a force many times its own body weight. They are quite literally living hydraulic rams. We often think of worms as mindless tubes, but recent research into worms' intelligence is shattering that myth. Earthworms lack a centralized brain like ours, but they possess a cerebral ganglion, a cluster of nerves that acts as a sophisticated processing center. Experiments have shown that earthworms can learn. They can navigate mazes and remember the location of superior food sources. Even more shocking is their social behavior. When faced with a new or hostile environment, earthworms communicate through touch. They cluster together to make collective decisions about which direction to travel. They also exhibit a form of herd behavior when selecting food. They use their chemoreceptors to taste the air and the soil, and they will follow the chemical trails left by other worms to reach a particularly rich patch of decaying matter. They aren't just solitary drones, they are a coordinated, decentralized intelligence network. The earthworm's gut is perhaps the most important chemical laboratory on the planet. It is not just about digestion, it is about transformation. When a worm eats a leaf, it isn't just breaking it down for its own fuel. It is engaging in microbial priming. Inside the worm's intestine, the organic matter is mixed with a specialized cocktail of enzymes and a massive population of endosymbiotic bacteria. The worm provides the housing and the moisture. The bacteria provide the chemical firepower. The result is vermicompost, the legendary castings. These aren't just poop. They are biological time capsules. They are rich in humic acids, which act as a natural glue for soil structure, and they are teeming with plant growth hormones like auxins and cytokinins. A single casting can contain billions of beneficial microbes that continue to work long after the worm has moved on. They turn locked-up minerals, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium into bioavailable forms that plants can actually absorb. Without this alchemy, the Earth's nutrients would eventually become locked in dead matter, and the cycle of life would simply stop. If you could see a cross-section of the Earth in high speed, you would see a bustling metropolis of tunnels. This infrastructure is what prevents global catastrophe during extreme weather. During a flood, these tunnels act as high-speed drainage pipes, allowing water to bypass the compacted surface and recharge the deep aquifers. During a drought, they provide pathways for air and moisture to reach the deepest roots of trees. In a healthy ecosystem, there can be over 1 million earthworms per acre. Together, they can move several tons of earth every year. They are effectively tilling the entire planet, ensuring the soil remains porous, oxygenated, and alive. The story of the earthworm is also a story of human migration. Many of the worms we see in North America today are actually invaders from Europe and Asia. They traveled in the ballast of ships and the root balls of colonial plants. Recent studies suggest that healthy worm populations can significantly increase the carbon sequestration capacity of grasslands and forests. In the fight against climate change, the humble earthworm might be one of our most potent and overlooked allies.